Good morning, wherever you are, whenever you are. Good afternoon, good evening. I screwed up the opening line, but that's okay. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow, and this is the community live stream for Friday, March 30th, 2018. 2018. The years are flying by a little quicker than some of us would like to admit. I am from ServiceNow. I've been here for about 8 years, customer for a couple of years before that. And you are watching the community live stream where I spend an hour or so going through the community postings that we've got in the last day, last week, last year. Some of these are continuing conversations, and I will bring you up to speed on those. Others are new, and we will get some fresh, brand new answers to help see if we can move the ball down the field, as it were. I'm just doing a quick sanity check, make sure all of the technical bits are working, streams are up. Yes, looks good. Thank you for joining me, Tariq. If you're joining me on YouTube, let me make that smaller so that I don't run right over it. Looks like I might have a streaming problem on my end. At least the YouTube is being a little slow. Make this a little smaller. Make sure that worked. And bring up the title for that. This is a one-man operation. Nobody else is awake at this hour. It's 6 a.m. here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. And wherever you are, I wish you all the best. This is Friday, Good Friday. Happy blessed Easter weekend to you. If you do want to give me a shout out, tell me where you're from. I know there's a few of you watching live as we do this. The objective of this program is to go through the community and not only get you an answer, but how did I get to that answer? Uncover some best practices along the way. Do a little detective work. Roll up our sleeves, and get our hands dirty finding those answers together. I rely on you as much as you rely on me in this one. It's a learning process both ways. Yesterday I learned about set value on document fields. There's always something to learn. We are simulcasting this also on Twitch, so if you prefer to watch over on Twitch TV, I'd love to see you there. So I will also be using, let's see, if you've got a question or an issue, please post that in the community. If you put it into the live stream, the chat, it's going to get lost in the blur. It's not going to be searchable. It's going to come up in real time as people are watching, which is interesting, but not very referenceable. If somebody's got the same problem and say, hey, my catalog item does that same kind of thing. Can you, if you want to post a link, YouTube doesn't allow you to do full URLs, but if you just put like after community.servicenow.com, take everything from the / on out with the sysid and the SP equals or whatever, put that in there. I'll be happy to take a look. Can't guarantee that I can answer every question. My specialty is in the platform, custom applications and integrations. So if you've got an in-depth question about GRC, I'm probably not your person. Post it in the community, put the link in the YouTube chat. I'll try to take a link if it's around the platform, if it's around developers, scripting. I'll do my best to take a look. Again, I don't claim to know everything. Nobody should. This is a big platform, and there's always a learning opportunity, and that's why I'm here to help, is to give you that learning opportunity. I will also be using my personal developer instance over at developer.servicenow.com. I should have been doing that for the other websites as well. Reminder, subscribe to the YouTube channel, that whole thing. If you like this video, click like. Looks like somebody's already like. Poland. Wow. Hope everything's cool over in Poland, or maybe even warming up in Poland. I have never been to Poland. I would love to get there someday. If I'm on my way, I'll look you up. Closest we're getting this year is London, Paris, and Rome. So that's on the plan for Q2. Anyway, developer.servicenow.com. Meetups. We did have a Phoenix developer meetup last night. That went really well. About 23 people attended. Mike Stockman is our organizer. We had it at a place called PetSmart. You may know them if you're in the U.S. Big pet supply company. You probably go there to get your dog collar or a chew toy or grooming, whatever. We have a couple of cats, and we use PetSmart quite a bit. Not to plug them they're not a sponsor or anything of the show. They're very loyal customer of ServiceNow, so appreciate that very much, and we appreciate them letting us use their venue. We talked about, mainly the main topic was quick messages, and I would like to show you that before we get into the content topic. This is a little known feature that can be very useful. It is under System policy email quick messages. Let me turn off the title. We'll get to some other stuff later, I'm sure. Post in the community. Aspinall Solutions, good morning from Fort Lauderdale. Hope things are wonderful in Florida. According to my brother, they are. My brother is now living in the Panhandle area. So quick messages, I do believe I clicked that. Waiting. Quick messages are available in the email client. So if you've seen the little email client in the incident, I'll get to it in just a minute. These are canned messages that you can assign to a group or make them global if your process needs that. Let me just do a quick example here. I'll bring up a new record. This is just a very quick synopsis of what we covered in the developer meetup last night. And interestingly enough, I was a bit skeptical when he announced this because there's no coding in this. Developers usually like to get into the nitty-gritty about coding. Not this one. This was a fairly clean situation. Let's see. Welcome to community live stream. Give it a title. And then make it active. I'm kind of surprised active didn't default to true. You can restrict this to a specific user so that only that user will see this in the drop-down list, or a group if you wanted to make a series of network messages or a series of database messages or a series of desktop support messages. You can make this specific to that group. And we can say, thank you for watching the show. Please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can kind of guess where this is going. I will sign that off. So the place that manifests itself is in, let's go to the incident list, go to open, and I am going to open this one. Loads it up. And the little three-dot menu, as soon as we get this little completed message out of the way, this little ellipsis up here on the title bar, for more options, there's an email client right there. Click the email client, and up comes this embedded client. Now, some people, if they don't know about this, they will have a series of copy and pasted messages in Word, in text macros, in whatever, and do this all in Outlook. The problem with Outlook is your conversation now starts happening in email rather than in ServiceNow, and you want that system of record. You want that traceability of what happened. How did I resolve this? What was done last time? Did you do this? Did you do that? And the replies will come back. This is an easy way to do this. So you can configure the email client to have the two-person come from the caller ID field. That's all configurable. I'm not going to get into that on this one. But let's say we're going to send this to Fred Luddy. There's Fred Luddy, founder of ServiceNow. And I have quick messages up here on the top. And there's my welcome to community stream. So if I have, think about it, if I have a series of these for the service desk or HR or somebody who's got a process that has a lot of these pre-canned messages, these prescriptive messages, I could just select that, and in the HTML area, which seems to be extremely collapsed, up comes my message. Very easy to do. Click send, done, time saver, and you can delegate the maintenance of those messages. So if HR has a series of messages, they don't need to come to the developers to put the quick messages into the system. You can say, hey, go maintain your own. That's fine. That's cool. So SPH music videos, thank you very much. I do enjoy doing this. And like the title slide says, when you bring up the video or the end, it says learn, share, help. That has been the tenet of my career. I'm not a CEO. There's probably a good reason for that. I enjoy learning what I can and sharing it so that others can be helped, and hopefully they can go on and share it as well. And this has just been a wonderful, wonderful company to do that for, giving me permission and support for doing experiments like this. I just said one day, hey, what do you think about, I'm up at 5 a.m. doing the community anyway, why don't I broadcast that? I've got the equipment, I've got the software, I've got the studio. Let's do this and try it out. So that's where the genesis of this has only been around for 4 or 5 months. Let's see, end of November, December, January, February, March. 4 months, and I appreciate you guys all joining me. and girls, excuse me, I didn't mean to say that generically. That's a little bit about quick messages. The other thing, oh, I missed one. The other thing I noticed that I want to share, this is what developer meetups are really good at. That wasn't it. I didn't want the reply to. I wanted to, let's go to the system mailboxes. And in the system mailboxes, I have some sent messages, including that one probably from Fred Luddy. And you notice in the, oh, another stupid dog trick I learned. This is, normally, I think 99% of us or more would go into this email message after it's sent, look at this body and go, I can't read the HTML between the lines and all the links. And you scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. And there's preview HTML body. Well, Diana Lewis, bless her heart, last night showed us there is a list UI action right here called preview HTML body. How long it's been there, I don't know. It just showed up. But thankfully, our notification task force is what our development team, product team is calling themselves. The notification task force put that in at some point in the past. I completely missed it in the TOI. You know, it'd be interesting to see. I can't right click on that. Preview HTML body. I am going to, this is where the investigative part gets in. Hold that thought. I'm going to find out when that was created. Okay, park that for me. Don't let me get away without that. If I open this up, you'll see that in the message, right here, it says from IT Service Desk. That used to be a property in the email properties. It says, who do you want this user to come from? And in fact, there is still a system property that says that. It's been deprecated, but it's still in the list. So if I look for value, I don't think I changed this one. Nope, I did. Okay, Orbit, I changed it to Orbit. I was trying to get it to say Orbit Corp Service. It's glide.email.username. That was the property on the email properties page. You change that, your emails start going out instead of saying IT Service Desk. I've searched earlier this week for that, and I tested this. I did a cache.do to flush the cache. Didn't work. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Found out later when reading the docs that this is deprecated, but it still didn't say where you set this display name. Okay, so I found out it is under mail accounts. If I could spell accounts. The wonderful joys of doing this. Under system mailboxes, email accounts, it is now under ServiceNow SMTP. This is where it says Orbit Corp. Why it said IT Service Desk, I don't know. Should not have said that. The inbound doesn't have that. This is a POP3 account. I might have been looking at an older message. I don't think I sorted those quite right. But it's under ServiceNow SMTP. If you change that, then your outbound messages will be stamped with the right company. So it may not be appropriate for you to say IT Service Desk if, say, HR is sending it out. You may want to say, this is Orbit Corp Service Management or Acme Corp Service, whatever your organization name is, put it there. You'll have a lot easier time. Okay, back to that UI action. I'm not going to let you get away with this. You still realize we haven't really done anything in the community yet. It's almost a quarter past the hour. But this is fun. I want to share information beyond the community, just in case it's a light day. Fridays tend to be a little light in the new material. There's a congrats in here. I want to make sure there's a... Guess what? I am now a PM for a Gold Services partner. Awesome. Congratulations. We love our partners. That's great. Great, great, great. Time flies. I started my job at the same time this started. You started your job in late November? That's awesome. Congratulations all around. This is a good Friday. Okay, back to UI actions. I want to know when that list UI action that I just showed you about 5 minutes ago. So you can do a right click in the sent or out box and do a preview message. It was called preview HTML something, something, something. Oh, it's the same UI action. See how it says form action and list action? It was updated in late 2017. This may be new to Kingston. We're not going to see we're not going to see the revision history, but if I personalize the list columns and put the created date on it, this is going to go way back. Click created. I expect this to be like 2008 or 9. Yeah, 2008 was when this thing was created. Interesting. I wonder who last modified it. Updated by. Let's do the personalized list columns again. Updated by. It may or may not say a real name here. Updated by system. Brats. Okay, well, I have some inside contacts. I'm going to, if I get a chance, I'm going to find out. I just had an emergency this morning. This is one of those things where I must have missed a memo because I found out today we're going off of Box. We've been using Box.com for about 5 years, and I get an IT notice this morning that says, as of 5 p.m. today, we are shutting down Box. You should have already migrated your stuff. Yeah, it's nothing like a panic at 5 a.m. when you're going, oh, I've got 12 hours to get 5 years of legacy information off of Box onto OneDrive. This is going to be a fun day. Oh, speaking of which fun days, we will be doing a live coding happy hour today in about, what'd that be, 7 hours from now? It'll be at 1:30 my time, 4:30 Eastern time, which would be 8:30 UTC. I think the British are changing their clocks this weekend, so I'm not going to try and make it be BST. I'm just going to go with UTC, and you can figure it out from there. Live Coding Happy Hour is where Dave Slusher and I, and oftentimes other people, will get together and take you through the build process. This is not a polished demo. I'm going to be building my first Flow Designer action and Integration Hub spoke to do a REST API call based on data matching from other records. We have a lookup record action. If you're not familiar with Flow Designer, it is the next generation of workflow management, but in a different context. And we're going to be talking about that. What sort of mental process do you have to have, not only while you're building these flows, but while you're building the actions that make up the flows. So we're discovering best practices as we go. I'm going to make mistakes, things are going to break, and we'll figure out how to make it work. But between the two of us and a bottle of beer each, we should be able to get a pretty good result. My end game is after an hour, I should have a simple workflow that allows me to send a REST API out to some site based on the conditions on other records. So, and the conditions are in the records, not the condition of the records that met. It'll make a whole lot more sense when you watch. Go to the developer, I can't even remember what the official name is now. I just go there. YouTube, ServiceNow Dev Program YouTube channel. It's where we got text shorts. It's linked from developer.servicenow.com. That link that I showed you earlier on. Yep, that one. And we have a YouTube channel out there called ServiceNow Dev Program. In there is the live coding happy hour content. Useful stuff. If you want to know about OAuth, we're really sad that Josh Nereus is no longer part of that group. Maybe he'll come back as a guest periodically. I love live coding, but often don't watch it live. Well, good. I'm glad you're able to find that. UK changed clocks last weekend. My mistake. I knew it was around here somewhere. I remember when I was a kid, we used to change the clocks in the US about this time. It was like the last weekend in March. And originally, when I was very young, it was in April. So they keep pulling this back. And then I moved to Arizona where we don't change our clocks. Good morning, Sashith. Good to have you. I say it's time to go into the community and find what we can find. I've got nothing in the inbox, but I do have one link that I want to follow up from yesterday. This is the community live stream. Thank you for joining me. Wow, we had 20 minutes of content that had nothing to do with the community. But if you do want to get involved with the developer meetups, go over to developer.servicenow.com, check the meetups menu or the events menu, and see if there are any meetups in your area. If there are not, I encourage you to reach out to us and let us know you want to start one. They're very valuable. They're very enjoyable. get to be with about 20 or so of your favorite friends, depending on where you are. It might be more, it might be less. And there's some benefits. I just got a couple box load of t-shirts. I should show you one of those on the stream. They're kind of cool. I want to see people walking around CreatorCon with our developer t-shirts on. That's what I want to see. I forgot to bring them to the meetup last night, but we are going to try and squeeze in one more informal. What they do in the UK, I believe the London group does this, is every other one has no content. They'll say, okay, this one is going to be with an agenda, and here's what we're going to build. This one is going to be, we're just going to hang out at a pub and talk about nerdy stuff and have micro conversations and plan what we're going to do for the next meeting. Need help with client script? I'm looking at the unsolved issues. Need help for client script, 7 replies. If it's already engaged that deep, 7, I'll take a look. I don't know if there's anything that I can really contribute that hasn't already been said. Oftentimes, often is probably the wrong word. Once in a while, I can contribute a best practice. Hey, I recommend you not do this. It's a customization. It's going to be costly to maintain. It's going to be costly to test. It could be at risk for upgrades. I want to make sure that people are aware of not only technically, can I do this, but should you do this? In fact, that's a great line from one of the CreatorCon sessions I was reviewing yesterday. He said, just because you can do something in ServiceNow doesn't mean you should do something in ServiceNow. That's very wise words. Hi all, I have one field type of choice in table where choices are 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. When my profile in English, there's no issue. I'm unable to select the choice and submit. Oh, I'm able to select it. But when I change my profile to Norwegian, 0.1 is not accepting. It will accept, it will accept only comma. How can I write a client script for this and on change? Oh, this is a fairly old thread. How did I miss this? Because the most recent stuff shows up at the top. Can you try making some drop down a string field and add choices to that? Have you created choices for the language? Yes, it's displaying both in point and comma. Also 0. What is IPFA? I'm trying to find what the choice actually looks like. Let me know if any updates on this. One reply down here. I'm not able to see translations of this options. Okay, so there is something in the document. I would like to see. Is this a catalog item or is it a field? I missed that detail at the beginning. I have one field type. Okay, so this is a field. I would like to see the choices available for all languages on this choice list. Right click on the field label and choose show field name. It's Friday morning and that means it's garbage and recycle time. So I apologize if you can hear our waste management team working diligently out there. Phoenix does a wonderful job of that. Over here, if I have a field, I'm just going to, I don't even know if this table has a choice list, but I'm going to look. Got a table field, there we go. You can say, wait for the form to finish loading. There we go, show form style. So I'll take a quick picture of that as a reference. Get back on the right menu here. Do my screen capture keystroke magic. Not sure why it actually moved on that one. Put that in there. It will display a list of all choice labels and values and language and whether they're enabled and the order they're in. I'd like to see that if you can share it. It should shed some light on what is being displayed and what is not and why. Paste, reply, ding. Seth Sheath, where are you from? I'd like to just kind of reaching out, shaking hands virtually with people and say, good morning, welcome to live community live stream. I gotta stop doing that. I am here with my cup of now tepid herbal tea, making my way through some content on the community, completely unscripted. We're going to learn something today. Integration with other application, posted 5 minutes ago. Let's take a look. Hi all, we have one application named ITIL Access, in which users will open a URL, example:/itelaccess.in, of the application and apply access for applications like Word, Adobe, and a few other applications. They will add the application to the cart and submit. Once approved or approved, the application will be available under My Access tab. In that application, users have one tab, My Access. It will display application access details of the particular user. Now I want to get the information from My Access, from IT Access application, and display the details in ServiceNow in some table. May I know how to achieve this, what the possible ways are in advance? That is a spaghetti bowl full of questions. There are several questions that need answering when you engage with an integration. When you engage with an integration, such as, okay, is this a commercial application or something built in-house? Are there any published APIs? Is it, ooh, hey, what happened to my bullet item? Is this a hosted application or on-premise? On-premise, premise. Okay. Do you expect real-time or batch updates? E.g. once a night. What else? Let's start there. Any published APIs? REST, SOAP. That gets the discussion started. Like if it's on-prem, you don't have a mid server, there's no published APIs, can you export it to? That wasn't supposed to happen. I want to indent one level further. There, I need an icon. I hit tab, sorry. Are there any published? If not, can you export to something like Excel? All right, we'll leave it at that. Questions. Integrations are always fun. Is there any authentication? Hey, I can learn. I didn't hit page refresh. I just clicked the unreplied. How to avoid job lang illegal argument exception argument must be string or native instance. Okay, I want to know where this error message is coming from. For every error message, there's usually an error message detection. Argument must be string or native string instance caused by error in script include test SI at line 50. For var j less than array ci, it's an array of an array. Size, what is size? grci true. Causing a huge log generation. Kindly let me know. There's not enough information here to tell what these things are. This is like looking through a keyhole at a problem. Okay, got to know what build rule is expecting. It looks like a glide record. Is CI a string? It's hard to tell without a better view of the context. What is build rule expecting. What is our array CI? Is it an array of an array? An array of objects? What is size? A lot of things are just out of view to actually understand what this is. What is it expected to do? It's JavaScript telling you you're doing something wrong. That's the underlying part. So you just have to put the pieces together. Okay, are time entries in worker portal available to file back to task records? Inactive groups and active directories should be removed from ServiceNow, and renamed names in AD should be renamed in ServiceNow. Sounds like there's an integration gap there. Like you're only importing the active. As a user in ServiceNow, I want to see only, I like this. This is written like a story. Below is the requirement. Kindly help me with the script. As a user in ServiceNow, I want to see only groups which are active in Active Directory, so that I do not utilize a group which is no longer active, and I can ensure the groups appear consistently across AD and ServiceNow. So there's not really a script. It's more of a question of, are you importing all the groups? Importing all the groups or just the active ones from AD? If you are only importing active groups, which I need to check something real quick on the personal developer instance. This was brought up timely enough, this was brought up, what am I looking for? Import, system import. This was brought up at the developer meetup last night. And under data sources, we have a sample LDAP. Example HTTP example LDAP groups. I think the guy was telling us about the users, but I would expect to see the same thing. When you do a data source, there's going to be a transform. The transform is how you map fields from the source to the target. Once it's been imported into a staging table, and there is an onStart transform script that he said was he said it was off for the users. Now that doesn't seem to be the case here. It was only importing active users, and okay, that's not exactly what I was looking for. Let's go back to, oh, I gotta sneeze, that's Kevin. It's making my eyes water. Ooh, that was a good one. Thankfully, you didn't have to hear that. At least I hope not. We'll find out when we do the playback. Hi, Chuck. Have you tried voice commands to type in your replies? I have not, because that machine is getting input from, I'd have to try on Skype. I'd have to think about it. It's wired into the mixer board. And with technical terms, it's going to get really interesting. Can you imagine what it would translate LDAP utils into? There would be some translation. Oh, but I don't want to do a transform. I want data sources. Let's go back to the user one. He said that by default, he claimed that the user import set was not importing active users, or all users. It was just doing active users. And he pointed to the onStart transform script. So if you're new to ServiceNow, the way that the integrations work is you take a data source, whether it's LDAP or JDBC or an Excel spreadsheet, and you bring it into a staging table. Staging table is a representation of what you imported, but it is not the final target for that. It may have data validation issues, such as required fields are blank. Don't want that. Don't want records where data is missing. We might have duplicates. We might have to massage the data in some way. Example being when I was importing user data at my old company, employee ID started with a 00, and everything on the badge did not my employee ID was H330. But out of the database, for whatever reason, it had 00H330. So my transform script would lop that off. It's just a way of cleaning up the data and processing it, then putting it into the target table. Well, it can do a number of other things as well. That's what the transform does. I somehow hit an invalid key, wiping out the name of that. And these transform scripts can run at a number of times during the process, at the very beginning of all the records, before each record, after each record, on complete, if there's an error, if there's a foreign key insert, there's lots of different transform. And here you can see this one is run before each record, this one is run at the very start of the whole process, and this one is run at the very end of the process. So here we go. This is set to active false for the users, but apparently groups are there. So in this long and boring discussion, if you're only importing active groups, then the ones in ServiceNow are not going to ever be deactivated. Activated. You can do this. That should happen automatically, but I haven't looked at an LDAP import. I don't know what the data source looks like in probably 10 years. I should probably do that for fun one day. Because who doesn't like setting up an AD server just to play with? All right. What was the question? Can you share with me the script? Well, we need to understand what exactly is going on. Let's get an answer to that question first. 2 things in the inbox. Something is happening. Go refresh that, see what's going on. I'd like to keep these conversations moving along, include you in them. Let's see if these are replies to new conversations or something old. Need help with client script. That one started up today. There's the choice field. I asked to see the choices. This is a reply back to one of the other respondents. That field is a choice type is translated and changed the field to 0,01 and created. In the form, it is displaying total of 6 like 0,01. What it displays and what the value is behind the scenes. I want that FTE field to show only decimals. When I change the profile language, we got to see what's in that show choice list. That's the only way we're going to find out. What I asked for, as I mentioned, is show a choice list. When you do show when, oops, not show when. I totally dorked that up. It's show choice list. He's going to give me the properties of that field now. Oh, at least I can correct it here. Let's do this. Where'd my reply go? Reply was under here. How come you didn't catch me there, community? Let's edit that. Show choices. Get rid of that graphic. Come on. Get rid of that graphic. Need a way to make this window bigger somehow. There. Paste in the new one. They'll never know. Okay. When you say configure choices, it allows you to move them around and add new choices. But show choice list brings you to the actual table where those choices. This is sysadmin stuff. I hope I'm not surprising anybody with this. But we've got English, we've got Spanish, so you can see on, after, on, before, on choice, create. There's a value, and the values are consistent between all of the languages, but the labels may change. In this case, they don't. But if I were to look at, say, the state field on incident, if I go there, go to incident, pardon my incident form, it gets messier by the day. I am going to need to Z-boot this instance sooner or later. And say show choices on the state, show choice list. Still didn't get it right, but they'll get the idea. I have my English. Let's group that by language. I have English and I have Spanish. So here are my Spanish. You can see the value is actually an integer on state. Doesn't matter if it's an integer or string, it has to be consistent so that 100 is solicitado and 100 under English is undefined. How'd that get there? Let's take something else. Open is state 1. Has a value of 1. This is really what the scripts, what the application, what everything cares about underneath. It's only when it comes time to present it to a user that the language gets involved. So 1 is abierto, and that is open in Spanish, so that somebody looking at this in Spanish understands, but the application still works with the value of 1 underneath. So that's the value of values. Okay. Back to the community inbox, integration with another application. This is where I had questions upon questions for VRNRM. And can you kindly copy some links of videos for integration using REST API? Different user, but yes, I can do that. We have several. There's one, I think there are some on Live Coding Happy Hour, which will be on YouTube, ServiceNow Dev Program. Wow, I just referenced this a little while ago. How handy. And let's look up, make that a little bigger for you. I don't want to mess with the other screens. And unfortunately, it's messing with the other screens. I need to make that a little bigger for you on this one. REST. We could all do with a little more REST, right? So I am going to, hate to do this, but paste in the link there. There are several on the Live Coding Happy Hour playlist, on the ServiceNow Dev Program channel on YouTube. Let's make that a link. Live Coding Happy Hour playlist is going to go to this link on a new page. Ah, I hit cancel. Good thing that wasn't a whole lot of typing I just wasted. You can also find some in the TechNow archives. There we go. Make that back down to regular size so I can see the chat. Come on. There we go. Ooh, we got a whole chat going on here. There we go. Good morning. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the community, the ServiceNow related. Be sure to use the appropriate community if you are posting. For example, we see here an IT service management, developer community, IT service management, IT business management. That helps the audience gauge whether or not this is in their area of expertise. So if I'm looking through these, I tend to shy away from the ones that are in IT business management. I will often take a look just so I could get a little more exposed to what types of questions are out there and maybe help if it's platform related around, maybe somebody just wants to add a choice to a choice field in project. The process is the same, but they're thinking of it in a project context. So it never hurts to look, but make sure that it's in the right place. How to apply scheduled resource user, read content. Where was I going? Inactive groups, already did that one. Let's refresh this list. It's been a little while. See if anything new has come in. Query to get records, sys update on only a few fields. Let's find out. That sounds fairly innocuous. How to do catch all in an if-then statement. Let's take a look at this one first. Background script, query to get record sys update only for a few fields. In the sys user table, I want to get record names which have only been updated before 2 days in the active field. If active is updated, it only lasts 2 days before I need those details. Oh boy, that gets interesting because You can tell if the record was updated, but you can't really tell what was changed in the record unless it's an auditable field. But doing queries on the audit table can be horribly, horribly expensive. I am going to save this link. It could be a performance issue, and I don't recommend it. I'm going to use that as a follow-up link that I will get back to them, rather than making you watch me type and talk slowly and mumble to myself. That's not interesting. But anytime you update a field or update a record, it's going to automatically keep track of the sys updated on field. The value there will say, hey, it's the current time this record was updated. And then you could tell how many records were updated today. But to say, I want the records where the active field was changed on a specific date or 2 days ago or this week, whatever, you're going to have to go to someplace else, and that is that audit history of what the record has done. Along with active field, it may say the name was changed. It may say the title was changed. It may say the date of hire. There's going to be different aspects of that, but it's tracking not just your user table, it's tracking all of them. And that audit table is generated, the content in there is generated dynamically. So every time you query it, the system has to go through these gyrations to get that data for you and then present them to you in the query. So it's highly inefficient. It's not really regular. There's already a reply on here, and somebody is saying, sys created on. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to avoid. They say go to sys history line. Okay, now I have to type this in. I have to warn you that querying sys history line is costly and could cause performance issues. What is the underlying business requirement for this? Whomever is making the request should be aware that this is an expensive requirement and should really consider the need for it. Don't be afraid to present the facts confidently. Implementing requirements just because someone says so or the customer said they need it does no service to them or you. It only causes problems in the future. Kids, listen up. Stay in school, eat your vegetables, and don't blindly implement requirements without asking and understanding what the requirements are behind them. You'll grow up happy and wise, probably smarter than me, and live longer, and have a better career. Are we having fun yet? I am. 10 minutes left to go. Let's see if there's anything new in the inbox. Looking forward to live coding happy hour. I'll be right here. Of course, I'll roll up the green screen. Probably have the tie untied. It's been a long week. It's happy hour after all. I do have some other objectives to obtain. To knock down today. It's Friday. Cannot read property to from null. Well, that's interesting. That one's got my curiosity. What's wrong with this code? Where to begin? I'm sorry. Why the error is shown in bracket? Cannot read property to from null. Okay, gsinfo current.number current.uClient email. They're saying record number into the log if string equals null. So where is str set? That's the question. gsinfo current number current.user not found. In line 12. Is uClient email set? Wait. Space. I'm looking at the Cannot read property 2 from null. It may be. There are 4 replies in here. Let's see what the replies are. If string equals blank or string equals null, or you can simply use if string equals empty instead. Okay, I think the issue is somewhere else in your code. Can you please post the full code? I think my business rule is running before the record is getting inserted into the form. To give you some background, record comes to staging form, then through transform maps, then gets inserted into the main form, and on the main form, I have a business rule before insert with my code. I tried changing it to an after, but the same error. Okay. It's helping to understand what the context is and where this is going. Just saying a piece of script and here's an error. Understanding, you hinted at elements of an import set. We need to understand what this code is supposed to do, and when and where it runs. You also mentioned a business rule. By the way, before business rules run before the commit happens. If you are modifying information on the current record, use before. Woo, that was an interesting spelling. After business rules, come on fingers, you can make it 5 more minutes. After business rules, run after the commit and should be used on related records, e.g. you're doing a glide record lookup. Wow, slow shift again. Neither. I think it's time to step away from the keyboard, kids. Neither should use current.update. That updates the record manually and triggers business rules again. See the problem? I think I did that when I first started with ServiceNow. I didn't understand the whole business rule concept. But there is a very good diagram. If you go to the technical best practices on the developer site, business rules are described very well there. All right. A few more minutes left. Let's see what we can get. Get query for reference field records. 10 replies. You know what? Let's take a quick look. I'm just curious to see what the issue is and what people have been saying about it. How to write a script to get a query in background script owned by field in computer form, and it's a reference field to CC user table. In that reference table, one field is called active. So we need to query when active was made false. Oh, we already did this one. We already looked at this. Is my response the last one? Probably not. Yep, that was the last one. Sorry, got in there. Didn't recognize the description. Now it is time to step away from the keyboard. Integration with other applications, we talked about that. There's the challenge, is when I start replying to these, they all show up at the top. Let's go back to unreplied, see if there's anything new. 4 minutes ago, hardware catalog item. Access includes from script, including other catalog items. That one sounds pretty deep. Creating a confirm prompt within a UI action. ITOM. Here's one that sounds like a platform question in the ITOM section. I'm trying to create a confirm prompt within the reject UI action on the change request table. However, the client side on click function does not appear to be working. Let's take a quick look. It's kind of a tiny font. On click, they're going to do a reject request. Reject request throws up the confirm. It says it's not working. does not appear to be working, as it will not display the confirm box when rejecting a request. Something to note that the rejection is being done in the list view for the approvers tab. I haven't seen a confirm work on list views. This is interesting. Yeah, see, here's gform get form element. I don't think that's going to work for you. Server-side code rejected. I don't think this is going to work for you, since you're trying to do this on a list. See if there, you've got the, I see get form element. Is that what the call was? Yeah, get form element. gform.getForm element. gform is only available when you load a form. That's the whole point. Check the out-of-box UI actions to see if any list UI actions have a confirm in the script. You know, why don't I just do that real quick? Back to UI actions. Let's do a real quick check. Sometimes there's out-of-box examples. They make a good learning example, as I've done many, many times, not only on this show. Let's do a click where list action is true. Look for the filter. List action is true, and script contains confirm. Run, and we get, several, 24 of them. Now I can copy this, copy the URL over to my text editor, swap out my instance name for their instance name, your instance name, copy that back, and back to, was it the inbox? No, it was this window. Almost ready to finish up. I see a few with the filter list action is true and script contains confirm. Change your instance name to your instance name in the URL below. Hopefully that will help. That brings us to the top of the hour. I did not even talk about Knowledge, but real quick, make sure you sign up for Knowledge. Knowledge is our big conference happening May 7th through 10th in Las Vegas at the Venetian. It's coming up quick. I believe we're now 37 days away, and I am getting more and more excited and nervous and anxious all at the same time. Want to see you there. Don't forget to check the checkbox that says CreatorCon so that you're entitled to go to all the extended content for developers, admins, and architects. Get into that really deep stuff that we all love. I will be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in the Developer Theater presenting on custom applications. We're going to build a custom application live before you. Me and the other two teams of the Tech Now crew, Dave Slusher and Craig Stepp, will be there. Really look forward to you being there and enjoying it. Bring your business cards. There's going to be lots of networking opportunities for you. Be sure to check out all of the hands-on labs you can. If you're with other coworkers, make sure you split up. You'll get better coverage for going there and much, much more value out of the conference. So go over to knowledge.servicenow.com. The agenda builder is getting there. It's not fully online yet. Watch the community. There will be an announcement in the knowledge space when the agenda builder is live and online. In fact, you may want to subscribe to that area so that you get the email as soon as they post it. There's a thought. and then you can always unsubscribe afterwards in case it gets too noisy. So thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day. My name is Chuck Tomasi. If you got any questions specifically for me, reach out and give me a contact on email or the community, and I will do my best to respond. Until Monday, and I look forward to seeing you then, have a great weekend. Happy Easter to all of you. Even if you don't celebrate, it's a wonderful day just to be nice to other people. Go out there, learn something new. I hope you learned something today. Share it with other people and be helpful. Take care. Bye.